After doing distillation, let's do separation of substances by using more than one method. Till now, we had been separating substances using only one method, either thrashing, winnowing, sedimentation, decantation, filtration. Any one process we were opting for separating the substances. Some mixtures can be separated by a single method, whereas some mixtures can be separated by combination of methods applied one after another. As if I give you a mixture of sand and water, by using sedimentation and decantation, you can separate sand from water, right? If I am giving you a mixture of sawdust, with the help of filtration, you can separate it. If I give you a mixture of salt and water, with the help of evaporation, you can separate salt from water, right? But there are some combination of mixtures, some mixtures in which one single method cannot be applied. You have to apply different methods one after another. Suppose there is a mixture of sand, sawdust and salt. You have been given a mixture of sand, sawdust and water. Whenever you have to conclude which method I am going to opt for separation, you have to first understand the nature of the components of the mixture. Right. Now let's take each component one by one and understand what their nature is. First is sand. Sand. As you know, sand is heavier than water, and sand does not dissolve in water. Two qualities are there of sand. It does not dissolve in water. Second, it is heavier than water. So for separating, we can use sedimentation and decantation, right? Next is sawdust. Sawdust cannot be separated using sedimentation decantation because it is lighter than water. It keeps floating. So this can be separated using filtration, right? Next is your salt. But once the salt is mixed in water, it gets dissolved. You cannot separate it using sedimentation or decantation, neither using filtration. What process we have to opt for separating salt from water? Of course, we have to do evaporation. From this mixture, salt and sand cannot be separated by using just one method, but different components from this mixture can be separated using more than one method. Okay, let's understand it more clearly. Here one activity is given to separate components from a mixture of sand, sawdust and common salt. Here we have taken the mixture of sand, sawdust and common salt. Fine, this dry mixture is given to you. What you will do? Add water to the mixture and leave for some time. What we have to do? We have to add water into this mixture. Take the mixture in a beaker, add some water into it and then leave it for some time undisturbed. Pour out the top layer. Pour out the top layer as it is being shown here. This is the process of sedimentation and decantation. With your first process, you get sand. With your first step, you get sand. Sand separates as it settles at the bottom. When you pour water into this mixture, sand being heavy settles down at the bottom of the beaker, and with the process of decantation, sand can be separated from the liquid. Okay, now what all is present in the liquid now? Sawdust and salt. Salt gets dissolved in water. Sawdust being light floats on the water. Okay, so now one component is being separated, that is your sand. Now we have to separate sawdust and salt. Next step. Mixture of sawdust and salt water forms top layer. Sawdust floats in salt solution. So, sand is separated and now you have sawdust. water and salt in the solution. Now to remove the sawdust, what we can do? We can do filtration. We can do filtration. With the filtration, sawdust separates, that remains on the filter paper. Sawdust separate and it remains on the filter paper. Salt solution left in the beaker. When you do filtration, sawdust will remain in the filter paper and water droplets along with dissolved salt will be collected in the beaker below. Now what you have? You have separated sand here. With filtration, you have separated sawdust here. Now we have to separate salt from water. What we are going to do? We are going to opt the method of evaporation. Now you take salt solution in a china dish and then warm it. When you heat it, water starts boiling and water is escaped in the form of water vapor. And when all the water is boiled, finally you get salt solution. What you get? Finally you get salt in the china dish. So using sedimentation and decantation, we are separating sand. By using next step, filtration, you can separate sawdust. In the third step, you can separate salt from the water. Here again we can do one process. We can even get the water. We can condense the water as we have done in distillation process using a fry pan with ice at its back, and water can also be condensed and we can get distilled water.